7 astronauts were orbiting Earth inside a damaged space shuttle. NASA knew something had struck Columbia's left wing during launch. Engineers wanted military cameras to photograph the damage. The request reached the Department of Defense. Preparations began. Then, NASA cancelled it. Columbia remained in orbit for another 10 days. Nobody obtained a clear image of the wing. When the shuttle returned to Earth, all 7 astronauts died. The question is not simply why Columbia broke apart, it is why NASA chose not to look. Columbia launched on the 16th of January 2003. 81 seconds later, a large piece of insulating foam broke away from the external fuel tank. It struck the reinforced leading edge of the shuttle's left wing. The impact appeared on launch footage, but the footage could not reveal the damage clearly. The following day, analysts reviewing better images recognised the strike. They could see the foam. They could estimate its size, but they could not see exactly where it hit or what it had done. That uncertainty should have triggered an investigation. Instead, it became reassurance. Foam had fallen from shuttle fuel tanks before. It had damaged protective tiles before. But every previous shuttle had returned safely. Each safe landing taught NASA the wrong lesson. The foam was not harmless. NASA had simply been fortunate. But repeated success made the danger feel familiar. Familiar became acceptable. And acceptable became normal. By the time Columbia launched, foam damage was often treated as something to repair after landing, not something that could kill the crew before they reached it. Engineers assessing the strike faced a simple problem. They did not know how badly Columbia was damaged. Their computer model had not been designed for an impact this large. The launch footage was inconclusive, so they asked for photographs of the shuttle in orbit. According to the accident investigation, 3 attempts were made to obtain outside imaging. One request reached the military. Officials began identifying cameras that might photograph Columbia. But NASA managers were concerned that the request had travelled outside the correct chain of command. Attention shifted from whether the photographs were needed to who had requested them. At 8:30 on the morning of 22nd of January, the military imaging request was cancelled. It had been active for less than 90 minutes. NASA had reversed the burden of proof. The question was no longer, can we prove Columbia is safe? It had become, can the engineers prove it is unsafe? But without photographs, they could not. Managers already believed foam strikes were not a serious threat during flight. The early analysis appeared to support that belief. No senior manager seriously challenged it. Uncertainty was treated as an absence of danger. But uncertainty did not mean the wing was intact. It meant NASA did not know. And it chose not to find out. The astronauts were eventually told that debris had struck the wing. But they were also told there was no concern about the damage. The message described it as something worth mentioning only in case reporters ask about it after the landing. The crew did not know they might be aboard a crippled spacecraft. They believed they were completing a successful mission. Photographs would not have guaranteed the crew's survival, but they could have revealed whether NASA was facing an emergency. After the disaster, investigators examined what might have been possible if the damage had been discovered early. One option was an improvised repair during a spacewalk. NASA considered it extremely difficult and dangerous. Another was an emergency rescue using the Shuttle Atlantis. By conserving oxygen, water and carbon dioxide filters, Columbia's crew might have remained in orbit long enough for Atlantis to launch. The timing would have been brutally tight. The mission could still have failed, but it represented a chance. Without clear images, NASA never reached the point where that chance had to be considered. On the 1st of February, Columbia began its return to Earth. During re-entry, superheated air entered through a breach in the left wing. It began destroying the aluminium structure inside. Sensors failed. The shuttle became increasingly difficult to control. Then the weakened wing failed. Columbia broke apart over Texas approximately 16 minutes before landing. All 7 astronauts were lost. The foam caused the physical damage, but foam alone does not explain Columbia. NASA had built a system in which bad news struggled to travel upward, while reassurance moved freely. Engineers lacked reliable evidence. Managers assumed the problem was already understood. Previous success was mistaken for proof of safety. And when people asked for the information that might challenge those assumptions, bureaucracy stopped them. Columbia was not lost because nobody noticed the warning. It was lost because the organisation had already decided what the warning meant. The final chance to break this failure chain did not come during re-entry. By then, the wing was already doomed. It came 10 days earlier. A camera was being prepared. A damaged spacecraft was still safely in orbit. 7 astronauts were still waiting to come home. NASA had a chance to look. It chose not to. Every catastrophe gives someone a chance to stop it. This was Columbia's.